Smooth 98.1, love music, love life. It's 5 o'clock, and that means it's time for me to share my musings with you on 5 at 5. As always, I'd love to read your thoughts, so let me know what you are thinking about the musings I'm sharing. Plus, if you've got any musings of your own, please send them to me. The WhatsApp number is 0809 440 981, or just tweet at smooth981. So, my first musing has to do with thinking about how, as children, as teenagers, people can get up to some form of naughtiness, right? And it's very interesting because when teenagers, particularly, are being a bit naughty, it's normal for some older people to act like they're doing something out of the ordinary. But the truth is, teenagers all across the world are the same. It's that bridge between being a child and being an adult, sort of thinking that you're an adult even though you're not quite an adult. So, yeah, it's normal. Teenagers all over the world act the same way. So back in secondary school, my friend Otakini and I, let's just say we didn't have a lot of love for a particular teacher, and it was mutual. So we decided that we were going to scare that teacher, and so what we did was, or what we planned to do, was get powder, put it in an envelope, and mail it to her so she'd think it was anthrax. Yeah. So don't look at me like that. Like you didn't do stuff like that. See what I said? People are gonna act like they didn't act like teenagers. So, anyways, we had the powder already, we had the envelope, but we're thinking we can't deliver this ourselves because we would get in trouble. So, after thinking about it, we decided we'd find a junior student to go and send this letter for us. Now, as we were trying to find the right students to do this, we realized we were quite popular, so everyone knew us. So we realized that it would be very easy to fish us out because we were very close, but we were so different and everyone knew us together. So my friend Otokini was like very light skinned and very big, and I was small. So it was like if they apprehended that junior student and they said, okay, who sent you? Should describe, and then they know it was us immediately. So unfortunately, we weren't brave enough to deliver the powder slash anthrax. And you know what? I wish we actually did it though. But yeah, we couldn't because we couldn't just risk getting expelled. Expelled for mailing powder. Anyways, moving on to the second musing. It still has um something to do with the honor code among friends, where friends are not allowed or encouraged to snitch on each other. So if you get in trouble or your friend gets in trouble, you have to just bear the punishment. Looking back, why didn't people just snitch and save themselves? This same friend and I, and this is another memory. We had this. There was this teacher. He was a male teacher, one of those randy male teachers that would try their luck with students. They would try it with young coppers. They would try it with other teachers. They were just randy. And the weird thing was, this man was actually my friend. He never tried that with me, though. So we saw him with a copper female, and we're like, oh gosh, he started again. So my friend screamed his name, and we hid. So now he realized he had been caught, and he walked all the way to the class to see who had called his name. And once he came and he saw me and my friend, we of course knew what we had done. I knew what she had done. She knew what she had done. So he looked in the other class and saw people were closer to the other window. So he took one of them, who was my friend, and told her to confess that she was the one that did it. And she was like, did what? So he took her, and we're like, okay, we're good. We're good. She's not going to snitch. So after he gave her 24 strokes of the cane, she had to snitch. So I don't know why she waited for that long to take the punishment and then snitch. Like, why not just snitch from the beginning? So he came to find my friend and I. At this point, we knew he was coming back. So I said, you have to run. So she basically found her way out of school. This was every sequel target, by the way. So she found her way out of school, and he came to me and he's like, Ungazi, she's your best friend. So if I don't find her, you're going to have to provide her. And I'm like, why? Innocent me. So at this point, I had to see if I could find her, but she was already out. Another teacher saw me, thought I was trying to escape from school, and I got a few strokes and I'm crying and walking back. And then this teacher sees me and he's like, "Why are you crying?" I'm like, "Because you told me to go look for my friend." Another teacher saw me and I got some flogging, and he apologizes to me. And the next day, when we get home, I call my friend on the phone. I'm like, "Man, Otakini, I don't know what you're going to do, but." So next day, she came with her older brother who was at university at the time. And he came and him and the teacher had a conversation and he let her go. He forgave her. So two other people had to enjoy some flogging, and the culprits walked away. To snitch or not to snitch. Good times. See, those are the times where people need to do ridiculous things, because you can't be doing ridiculous things when you're an adult, because that is ridiculous, right? So it's okay to do those things when you're a teenager. So I think sometimes parents or teachers need to understand that these people are just being teenagers. They probably might have done the same thing in their time. Just saying though. Anyway, so moving on to our third musing, and this has to do with the state of petrol in Nigeria. Last night after work, I decided that I would go top up my tank, because you can't be caught unawares these days. So once you get to that middle line, and thank you very much to the voice for telling me that as well. Once you get to that middle line, you absolutely need to top up. So I went to a petrol station and I realized there was a little queue, it wasn't too much, but I realized that I was having a mini panic attack just sitting in the car in a petrol station with so many other cars, because I don't know why, but I was just thinking of, what if? And you know the what if I'm thinking about, right? It's not something I want to say because I don't want to scare you or scare anyone out there. But I was so uncomfortable sitting in the car. I had to mentally talk myself into remaining there to get the petrol. And it was maybe for 10 or 15 minutes, I think. But it was a lot. I felt really, really terrified just sitting in the car, because you never know. What if an irresponsible person somewhere is smoking or something is happening? It was just really scary for me. But moving on to the fourth musing, and this has to do with still the situation of getting petrol and the policies that are being implemented by the CBN. So when it was my turn to get the petrol I needed, the assistant tells me that the POS is not working. And I said, "So what are we gonna do?" He's like, "Oh, you can pay with cash." So I brought out my purse to see how much cash I had. I had about maybe 3,000, which wasn't enough. I would need at least 6,000 to, take it to the full. And I'm thinking, I can't be driving at night without having any money on me. And I said, "I'm sorry, but okay, it's no problem. But you should have told me from the beginning so I don't have to waste my time, queue here, and not get petrol." And he says, okay, he's going to check and see if the POS is now working. He says it was network problems and things like that. So after walking around a bit, he came back with one and he said, "Okay, let's try to pay." But I said, "How can I pay when you haven't even put the petrol? How do I know the amount I'm going to pay you for the petrol you're putting in the car?" So I just said, "You know what, let's try 6,000 and see if it'll work." So I put my card in and it worked. But my thing is, if people have restrictions of 20,000 naira every day or 100,000 naira in a week, and they're hoping that they can use their cards for these sort of transactions, the CBN needs to ensure that the banks or financial institutions have the technology bits down to a T. Because if it's not sorted, then it means people are not going to be able to get basics for themselves, because they are already restricted with the amount of cash that they can have in hand. Case in point, me, I had 3,000 naira and I couldn't get petrol before the POS mysteriously started working. And it just got me thinking that perhaps some organizations who are trying to avoid some of these extra charges with the bank might actually try to force people to pay more in cash, because, well, it saves them in the long run. They're putting the money in the banks and they can't get it out in the form without the extra charges. So I guess this is something that would have to be looked into. Some of the banks have systems that are very inefficient, and it's gotten worse over the past few months. The bank apps are not working. Sometimes you're trying to send money, it sends it twice. So there's a whole lot that needs to be done to sort out the tech bit of the financial institutions. And with this restriction, it just means, once again, the customers, you and I, are going to be hard hit in some way. So yeah, That's the fourth musing. And for my fifth and final musing, I was reading something about newborn babies that were abducted from a hospital in Anambra State. And it's quite sad that we've really come to this level where people now kidnap babies from hospitals. It's a problem. Now, when I read that, it just left such a bitter taste, and I'm sure that every other Nigerian feels the same way as well. And this can't go on. It started with experts rates being abducted, and then regular folk, and then school children, and now innocent children. Like, why do Nigerians, not the decent ones, obviously, but why are Nigerians just slipping even further and that wrong of doing bad things? It's just shocking. And I can only hope and pray that those children are returned safely back to their families. Well, that's it for the 5 at 5 here on the Smooth Drive. It's Zibby. As always, I'd love to read your comments, and we'll read them at 6 p.m. Have a... Okay, I'm seeing a message. Okay, that's not it. All right. Well, that's it for 5 at 5, and there's a lot more to come on the Smooth Drive, so please stay with us.